Good evening. Today's shiur is Elul Tishre Part 2. Beshem Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach. So this shiur is for Refuah Shlema, for Abraham ben Chana, Yosef ben Esther, Ahuva bat Tova, Zechariah ben Pearl Shira. And for Le'ilui Nishmat, Kol Neshama Shezkuka Lizchut, for our singles that Be'ezat Hashem they should meet the right partner שיזכו לבנות בית נאמן בישראל soon, for our soldiers to come home safely and for the safety of all all Jews wherever they are. And thank you to all my listeners and supporters for helping spreading Torah. Thank you, Hashem, for all the chasadim that you have done for us in the past, and please continue to do so. So, to recap, yesterday's shiur, we learned that Hashem promises that He will give us a good year if we do Teshuva. So, in today's shiur, we will learn about how Hashem judges us on Rosh Hashanah. So, the Gemara says that we are judged like Bnei Meron. So what is exactly Bnei Meron? So there are four opinions. The Chachamim of Bavel, they said that Meron means sheep, that all mankind's animals, birds, fish, the entire creation is being judged on Rosh Hashanah, one by one. How? Just like a farmer, when he wants to count his sheep, he puts them through a very narrow space. So this way they can only go through one at a time. And that's how he counts them. So too, that's the way we are being judged on Rosh Hashanah. Each one by himself or herself. And if we are deserving, Hashem judges us, Lechaim Tovim Shalom, for a good life and peace. The second opinion tells us that around Yerushalayim there are mountains and valleys, and there's one area where there's a passage which is very, very narrow, and only one person can go through it at a time. One at a time. So that's how we are being judged. According to the third opinion, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, who actually has a very interesting history, maybe some other time I can talk to you about it. So Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says that actually this refers to Har Meron, which is the highest mountain of the second highest mountain of Eretz Yisrael. And there's an area, again, where there's a narrow path, and only one person at a time can go through that path. The fourth opinion says, Rabbi Yehuda says, the Talmid of Shmuel, he says, this is just like in the times of David, when they had to take a head count of the soldiers, and they had to really count each one. And that's how it is, one at a time. So basically, they all agree, all those different opinions, they all agree that we are being judged one at a time. And each one by himself or herself. So the Zera Shimshon explains that according to the Gemara, in the Gemara brings the opinion of Rabbi Meir, and he says like this: Hashem judges everything on Rosh Hashanah, as we said, right? However, fruit are judged on Tu Bishvat, which is Rosh Hashanah La Ilanot for the trees. Water is judged on Sukkot, like if there's going to be enough rain or not, and what type of rain and where, or if there's going to be floods, chas v'shalom, or anything like this. Wheat is judged on Pesach. So And then the Rabbi Yossi says we are judged on Rosh Hashanah, but Israel are judged every day. So wait a minute. So which one is it? Is it Rosh Hashanah or is it every day? So Aruch Laner, another Chacham, explains that yes, people are judged on Rosh Hashanah, but also every day. So Ben Yehoyada actually brings an explanation for this, and he says like this. Let's say that Mr. Abraham, right? I'm just taking a name, and he's supposed to have on November 10, he's supposed to have a very successful day in business. Very successful day. So now time passes, and then it's the 10th of November. According to Rosh Hashanah, on this day, he's supposed to have a very successful day in business. However, on that day, Hashem judges to see, is he really, what did he do according to his deeds that day? Does he deserve to be successful or not? And that's what Rabbi Yossi meant to say when he said that we are being judged every day. And the same goes also for the opposite. Is Chas v'Shalom, Mr. Abraham was supposed to have on December 1st a terrible day or something, an accident or something like this. So when December 1st comes and Hashem checks, what did he do on that day? So if he did good, then that accident or that terrible whatever is supposed to happen is not going to happen because he didn't deserve that to happen to him. Okay? Then Rabbi Bar Barhana says that actually the whole Jewish nation is being judged individually and collectively. Sekira achat, collectively. How? We understand separately, individually, but how does it work that we are all being judged collectively? So here we learn the importance of how important is each person. We cannot say, I'm not important. I don't have talents. I'm not smart. I'm a nobody. That's not true. That is not true at all because each and every Jew is extremely, extremely important for the nation and for Hashem. If you are born, it's because you are important. Just remember that. If you were born, it's because you were important. So now, and you are still important in the eyes of Hashem. And Chachamim tell us, it says in the Gemara, Bishvili nivra olam. The world was built for me. Hashem created the world for me. Why? Because each person, each Jew, has his own mission to accomplish. And it's a mission that no one else can accomplish. I cannot accomplish your mission, and you cannot accomplish her mission or his mission. So that's why each and every one of us is so special and so important. And each one has his own mission, and by having and fulfilling this mission, then we are able to do the tikkun, the balance of the world. So the Gemara says that we are judged like Bnei Meron, each one on his own. And that means that the person is judged as to how much he has of his mission he has been able to fulfill. So how about now the collective judgment? We have a saying that we say, Kol Yisrael arevim ze lazeh. All Jews are responsible for one another. So does that mean that one individual has an influence so that the judgment, because of one deed, one Teshuva of one person, can actually have an influence on the entire nation? Yes. We are called Adam, and we all belong to one body. So yes, there is such a thing that one Jew who does Teshuvah, he will have an influence on the entire nation. And that's why the Gemara says we are judged collectively. But there's more on this. On Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, these days are really very special holidays. On all holidays, we say Hallel. On Pesach, on Shavuot, on Sukkot, Chanukah even, we say Hallel. But not on Rosh Hashanah and not on Yom Kippur. Why not? Hashem has 3 books in front of him on the days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The books of the Tzaddikim, the books of the Reshaim, the wicked ones, and the books of the Benonim, the ones who are so in between. They're not Reshaim, but they're not Tzaddikim either. So Chachamim say, when we know we are being judged, we don't know if we're going to live or die. How can we sing in there? How can we sing to Hashem? Hashem at that moment is deciding whether we are going to live or die. And the Malachim are asking, why aren't we saying a Shirah? So the Shimshon asks a question, and he says, what business is it to the Malachim whether we are going to say Hallel or we're not going to say Hallel? They are up in Shamayim. We're down here on earth. So why is it so important for them to know that we are going to say Shirah or we are not going to say Shirah? So according to Yon Yaakov, the Gemara asks, why is that the Malachim, the Malach, who fought Yaakov, right? When Yaakov was left on his own, after he helped cross his family and take everything that belonged to him and his family, the Malach came and started to fight with Yaakov. So when he started, the whole night long they were fighting, and he could not win. The Malach could not win. Yaakov was very strong. When the Malach realized that it was going to be daylight started already, daybreak already started, and the Malach said, Shalecheni ki ala shahar. You have to let me go because it's already morning. What? The fight cannot go on? They went on the whole night. Why can it go on also during the day? Right? So Yaakov says, that's what the Midrash says. Vechi ganav ata? Why? Are you a thief that you have to run away? Or socher bechaye adam? Or you are a merchant, you buy and sell slaves? Shemityare ata min hashachar, that you're afraid of daylight? And the Malach and says, no, ani Malach, I am a Malach, I am an angel. Umiyom shenivreti, and from the day that I have been created, lo higiya zmani lomar shira ad achshav. Since the day I've been created, I have not had the zechut of saying Shira to Hashem. And only today. So I don't want to miss that opportunity. I'm supposed today to say Shira to Hashem. So what's going on here? So the Gemara explains there are 3 groups of Malachim who say Shira. And they say Shira every day. One group says kadosh, only the word kadosh, that's it. The second group says, again, kadosh, a second time. Then the third group says, kadosh Hashem tzevakot. All right? So just the one word, kadosh. And the Gemara brings three, then the Gemara brings and says that there are three differences between the Shirah of the Malachim to the Shirah of Yisrael. What are the differences? Number one, Hashem loves us more than he loves the Malachim. That's number one. Why? Because Malachim don't have a Yetzer Hara, but we have a Yetzer Hara. And yet, we are able to control and overcome our Yetzer Hara and rise in spirituality. Israel says Shirah anytime. We can say Shirah anytime we want. The Malachim say Shirah only once a day. Some say once a week. Some say once a month. Some say once a year. Some say once in 7 years. And in Shemitah. Some say once in 50 years, Yovel. And some say once in a lifetime. All right? Now, we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem, Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. But Hashem, where, after how many words comes Hashem? Shema Yisrael, Hashem, right? So after 2 words, we say Hashem's name. Right? We mention Hashem's name after 2 words. The Malachim, they say 3 words, and then they're allowed to say Hashem's name. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Hashem Tzivakot. Okay? The Malachim are not allowed to say Shirah until we say Shirah. So this is the reason when the Malachim were asking on Rosh Hashanah, why we are not saying Shirah? Why Bnei Yisrael are not saying Shirah on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The Gemara also teaches us that if a Malach doesn't say his Shirah properly, like we know we have to say our tefillah properly, right? With kavanah, not talking, not using our phone, or looking around, really focused on our tefillah. A malach who doesn't focus, he's burnt. He dies. And a malach must have permission to say shirah. We don't need permission, but a malach needs to have permission to say shirah. And if he says shirah without permission, he's burnt also. Some malachim have been around for a long time, yet there are malachim that are created every day. And many of those malachim that are created every day, they say shirah without permission, and those malachim die. Also, the malachim are not allowed to say shirah before those who are greater than them. So who is greater than them? Israel. So they always have to wait that for us to start first, say our tefillah, our shirah, and then only then they're allowed to say theirs. So on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem gives them permission. Since we are not saying shirah, Hashem gives them permission to say their shirah. In Nefesh HaChaim, it says that a malach is greater than Israel in 3 ways. In his strength, his heroism. A malach is a hero. He can really do and really push himself to do what he needs to be done. And he's able to see the Shekhinah. Yet, the malach is still considered lower than Israel. Why? Because the malach is in Shamayim, in one area in Shamayim. He can never go higher. Never. He's at a certain level and he stays there as long as he's alive or as long as he's needed. You can never move up. Israel can go higher. It's all depending on their spiritual level, depending on how much we control ourselves, how many mitzvot we do, how much we are able to actually overcome our challenges. So we are better than the Malachim. Now let's talk about Teshuva to round up our talk about the judgments. Each and every one of us wants to be blessed with good health, with parnasa, with success, with children, with nachat from the children, with marrying of our children well, and all other blessings that we shalom and everything else that we wish for. All these blessings really are connected to one day, to Rosh Hashanah. So how can we get these blessings? How can we bypass the accusers? Because we don't get them because of the accusers. So how can we bypass the accusers? Rabbi Meir Balanes, in the Gemara he says, if a Jew does Teshuva with all his heart to the point that he is forgiven all of his sins, really with all his heart he does Teshuva, he is forgiven every single one of his sins. In fact, he does such a good teshuvah that his sins turn into mitzvot. And not only that, but by doing teshuvah, he has caused the forgiveness of all sins for the entire nation. Rabbi Meir Omer, גדולה תשובה שבשביל יחיד שעשה תשובה מוחלים לכל העולם כולו. Because of the one person who did teshuvah properly, 100% with his entire heart, Hashem forgives the sins of all the Jewish nation and all the world. So just as by doing teshuvah, changing our actions, our habits, the judgment is changed. So for us and for the entire world, we all benefit from this teshuvah of this just one person. And the accusers are kept quiet. Accusers cannot harm us, cannot say a word, cannot throw accusation at us. We all judge lechaim tovim u'shalom. Zera Shimshon explains, if a person says that he wants to explain to us the whole concept of how one person can cause the entire world, the sins of the entire world to be forgiven. So the Rashi Shimshon explains, if a person says that he wants to he has a cow, and he says, I want to bring one leg of this cow as a korban to Hashem. In that case, the entire cow becomes kedosha, holy, and that man or that farmer is not allowed to use the cow for work. He's not allowed to, because that's it. It's considered like a korban. It has the kedusha of a korban. So too Israel. We are considered as one body. So when one Jew does teshuvah, he influences all other Jews letova, for good. But for all this wonderful thing to happen, there must be ahdut. We must care and have compassion for others, help, give tzedakah, and love other Jews, have shalom with other Jews. So may Hashem help us to do teshuvah fully, so we can fulfill our mission and bring berachot to all Am Yisrael.